Okay, so welcome to Parents and Carers. I hope everyone can hear me okay. I'm going to make a start. I'm hoping you can all see the PowerPoint in front of you. It's got today's agenda, and we're just going to be going over briefly a little bit about the learning progress with the Year 8s to date, and what we are doing as a school to support this, and a little bit about behaviour. We're going to have a class charts refresher or reminder about the expectations for parents behind class charts and what we are planning to do moving forward in the future with this. Then we will go through the options process and key dates. This is going to be the main bulk of today's presentation. Just going to give you a bit of information about what it will look like on the options evening day and what to expect. And really, the next part is a Q&A session to allow parents to ask any questions that they may have before the event. And if your child is going to the Manor Adventure, I'm going to briefly speak a little bit about what to expect from that and what we are going to do in the future. I think we will have another online forum in relation to the Manor Adventure trip, but just to give a little bit of a brief overview about what's going to happen. So, as you can see, I've got the behavior and learning progress a little bit. It's quite small. I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but this is just a bit of an overview of the behavior and learning for the Year 8s to date. So as you can see, we've got 27,283 achievement points across all subjects. Okay, so that's amazing. It shows the level of work that is going on in classrooms and the number of achievement points that have been issued with this. Equally, you can see on the chart in this little red area that we have 2,353 behavior incidents. And if you can think back to when we last met on the forum, we just want to talk about a little bit about what we're doing to minimize that number and to get the number of incidents down and to prevent the disruption in lessons that is occurring in some subjects. Over here, we can see English, maths, and pretty much all the core subjects, which the majority of lessons come from for the Year 8s. They're the big bulk of the achievement points being awarded, which is great. Also, we can see MFL and PE have also been highly rewarding students for their efforts in lesson. So back to the last forum when we were discussing the negative impact about some of the disruptive behavior in lessons. There's a few things that we've been doing. So a big issue, I would say, from September to date was the behavior in some of the cover lessons. Now, when we did the last forum, we mentioned that cover lessons was an area that we needed to really improve the behavior, as we were finding the disruption in the class was quite unsettled and didn't really allow students to do the learning that they should be doing. So what we've put in place is regular meetings with the cover team, which involves a member of SLT or the pastoral team to go into these lessons to make sure students are settled. So they now see a regular presence of a member or a senior member of staff in their cover lessons. This is something that they are now used to. They're also unable to kind of get away with disruptive behavior in those lessons because the cover staff and the permanent cover teachers have got the same access to class charts as every teaching member of staff and every member of staff in the school. This was something that they didn't previously have. So it was quite easy for students to do the wrong thing in lesson and not and for staff, including me, not to necessarily find out about it. So it's a bit more difficult now for students to be disruptive in that lesson because they know we're going to find out about it. We've kind of seen an improvement in those cover lessons just because of our presence, and also the quality of work that is being set is more in line with what they've been studying if it was their normal teacher. It's not just any random bit of cover work that's being set. So we would say overall we've seen a good improvement with cover lessons, and the disruption isn't as as it once was at the beginning of the year. Also, departments are taking a bit more of a ownership over disruption in the lesson. So if there is a lesson that isn't going so well for a number of reasons, it could be a new teaching member of staff or a supply teacher or a student who is finding it difficult in that class, the department is now taking a bit more ownership over that. So students are having a bit more regular meetings with head of departments, as well as myself and Mr. Enabelli about this behavior. So It's not just been tackled by the pastoral team, it's also being addressed by department leads, which we found is, is helping to solve these issues a bit more. And it means that also, if there is a child being disruptive in the lesson, that the likelihood is the department will call their parent in for a meeting. So we have seen slight improvements with that disruption. It is work in progress, and it's something that we need to continue with. But overall, the year rates do seem a little bit more settled in those lessons that we were finding difficult in the past, which is a positive thing. This most recent progress check one that came out was very positive as well. There was a higher percentage of students achieving advances, which is good across all subjects. We kind of anticipated that it'd be kind of a bit even with the last progress check in year 7, but actually they've kind of exceeded that, and a lot more students, or a higher percentage of students, are achieving advances within their subject. Progress check 2 will be available by the end of this term, so parents and carers will be able to see, where their child is with their learning currently against the last progress check. And it's something that I would say, the progress review day was a good opportunity for parents and carers to raise any concerns with the progress that their child was seeing. I think a big issue that had come up in the past was about target pathways. Some parents felt that some of the target directions were too low, and that if their children were securing advances or securing the subjects, why did they have quite a low target pathway? What I would say is this kind of gets revised as they go into GCSEs in year 9. And it isn't something to necessarily worry too much about. I think it can be a bit disheartening for some students to see that their target pathway might be a little bit lower than what they would expect. But as long as they're doing the right thing and they are making progress in the subject, it will end up kind of evening out. So in year 9, they should expect to see things slightly different. I've just seen a question. Yes, so just to answer that point, teachers are raising a similar number of positive recognition. It does differ between departments, but overall, as you can see, there's a big bulk of students doing the right thing and a high percentage. It does differ between departments, and some departments are bigger than others, but I would say overall, when we go in to do lesson observations and go through students' books and observe the behaviours, we would say the majority of lessons are very positive. The lessons that we have found difficult in the past, we've had to support from both the pastoral team and the departments.
Sorry, can I just quickly come in? Can we keep questions to the end, please? We will take questions at the end. If you write down your questions somewhere, and then at the end we take questions. Thank you.
Okay, I was going to say that the chat option doesn't work for me. So I think Mr. Kurt just read a question, and I didn't know what the question was, but I understood later. I just can't read any text or write them down. I'm so sorry.
I'll tell you what, then, if you just make note of any questions that you may have, when we get to the end, you can just unmute your mic and just, tell us the question then, and we'll try and answer it for you.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, cheers. So, yeah, I think overall, the progress of the year 8s has been very positive, and the progress checks have definitely reflected that. We want that progress to maintain. And like I said in the last forum, I think if you have any major concerns or any issues relating to a specific subject, it's always best to head to the teacher first and just get an idea of what improvements need to be made, if any. So I'm just going to move to the next slide. So our class charts parental engagement we are trying to move towards using class charts and shifting over our system of SIMS, which we recorded quite a lot of information before. We're trying to transfer it all into class charts. So we still request, as you can see, the year 8s have got 71% engagement from parents, which is good, but we want that to kind of go a lot higher and into the 90s. What we've found in the past is that some parents might be logging on every once in a while, which meant that you are missing quite a big bulk of information, whether it be positive or negative, from their teachers. So we're still encouraging parents to really log on to the class charts as often as you can. I think what you can do with this is that these conversations can be meaningful, and they can be both positive and negative. So if there's been, you know, a good piece of work that's been achieved in a lesson and the teacher has rewarded your child for it, have those conversations. Equally, it stands the same as a behavior point. So I always get emails regarding certain behavior points that have been issued, whether it was in a cover lesson or if a behavior point was issued unfairly. We're trying to make the information as clear as possible to you. So what we've done now is ask teachers to be a bit more specific. If there is something negative that has come up, they need to be quite exact and precise of what has happened. So you've got a good picture and not just left with, you know, disruption in a lesson, because it doesn't always give quite a clear picture. Contact teachers directly if you have any queries or concerns. Again, that is pretty self-explanatory. And like I mentioned before, we're just aiming to have class charts as our primary source of communication with parents. So we really want parents to log on as often as you can. We're trying to put all information that we get across to parents onto class charts, and this is something that we're hoping to filter out as the year progresses. So the Class Charts app, many of you may have already have, but it awards achievement and behavior points, and Class Charts acts as our primary method of communication for home and general notifications and reminders, homework, updates, and behavior alerts, both positive and negative. For behavior, we expect staff to use Class Charts to record the positive or negative incident, and if a detention is issued. Sometimes, not every behavior point will issue a detention. It could just be that the teacher feels that it was necessary to remind parent or to show a parent that there's been some level of negative interaction in the class, whether it was a missed piece of homework or arriving late to a lesson or having to be sent out for 5 minutes. They don't always issue a detention. Sometimes it's just a note to make you aware of something that's happened in the class. Staff will also use Class Charts to set homework. Where possible, we recommend that you download and log in via the app. Many of you have got this already. The application available is on iPhone and Android. And if you log in using your child's access, you're not able to see all the features. So we're kind of asking you to maintain logging in with your parental account rather than your child's, because sometimes we found that parents may have forgotten their login details and then use their child's Class Charts login, which doesn't actually give them the full picture or full access. Your child can also use their achievement points to purchase rewards from the SNS Class Charts reward store. This is something that a lot more students are using. I think last year when we trialed it, we found that the year 8s were doing so well and getting so many rewards that we couldn't keep up with issuing them. So we've tried to give them a bit of ownership over it and ask them what they would like to receive as their reward. And this is something that, you know, they speak in student council, but we're trying to offer more in terms of rewards and them using their Class Charts achievement points. So this is something that, again, we want to really emphasize to students that they will be rewarded for positive behavior, and it's something that needs to be continued and addressed. So moving on to the options process. So to begin with, I think the first area that we started with this whole process is that we have asked, sorry, just bear with me, my phone won't stop ringing. So we've had department assemblies just before the half term, and what that consisted of was presentations from each department. It started from Monday the 5th of February to last Monday just gone, Monday the 19th. And it allowed departments just to give a short presentation about what to expect from the course, what homework might look like and how much homework to expect, different topics and different areas that they may be studying, exam boards, trips to be expected on throughout the year and into up to year 11, and what the examinations and coursework might look like. This is just a stepping stone for them to understand the course. It didn't give too much information, but just a little bit for them to start thinking. We encourage the students as much as we can to, you know, approach department leads and get more information if they need it. But as I move through the slides, you'll see that we've got quite a bit of information already gone live on the website for the curriculum offer for 2024. So that was the starting point for assemblies. The next step for preparing students for the options is student interviews, one-to-one student interviews. Now, this is where middle and senior leaders will have a meeting with 3 or 4 students from the year group. It isn't specific, it's quite random, and it just offers a bit of GCSE options guidance. The meetings will take place from Monday the 19th to Tuesday the 5th of March. What we are asking you to do is just reassure your child that it's not anything to be worried about. It's just for a member of staff to have a discussion, to go through the subject information booklet, and to just have meaningful conversations about what to expect in year 9, and to explain post-16 options and pathways, and just to allow them to ask any questions that they may have. So this will be undergoing from the 19th of February all the way into the 5th of March. And we're hoping that every single member of the cohort will have an interview with a member of staff in relation to this. Following this, the options evening, which is Wednesday the 28th. So we have already sold all the slots available. So we've got 3 slots available for parents to choose from. Now, what that will look like on the day is that you will come to the school, sign in, and then head straight to the library for your session. It's quite a tight window. There was a bit of confusion with the timing. I think on the head teacher's letter, it said 5:30 to 6:30. It's actually 5 o'clock to 6:30. So we're going to get that corrected in the letter just so there isn't any confusion. But once you head to the library, Miss Bryant, who's the curriculum lead,
for breakfast.
If you could just mute your mic, sorry. If you head to the library, the curriculum lead, Miss Bryant, will be going through a short presentation. And then the idea is that once you finish that presentation, you'll head to the school theatre to go and see the different subjects. There'll be representatives from each option subject there. Now, it's going to be difficult for your parents to see every single subject. So we're asking you to prioritise 5 subjects that you would like to see. And if you did have if you wanted information about other subjects, to email the head of department directly after, because you're not really going to have enough time to see every subject. So if you could prioritise the 5 subjects, that would be great. I have included the link for the sessions in the library, but they are completely booked. So, Mr. Elabelli, can you just confirm, if a parent was unable to book a session, are they able to still come on the day?
Can I confirm that at the end? We will take questions at the end, sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Questions at the end, yeah.
No problem. Okay. So, like I mentioned just earlier, the GCSE parent and student guidance has now gone live on the website for 2024. So if you head to the school website, hit the curriculum tab, okay? And then if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see these 2 Key Stage 4 options and Key Stage 4 options. One's for parent guidance for parents, and the other is subject information. All the information about the curriculum offer this academic year is on there. It's really informative. It tells you exam boards. Again, it gives information about what they'll be studying at year 9 all the way through to year 11. And it's just good for you to familiarize yourself with what to expect. I would equally say that it's really important for students to go through this as well. This is something that we're going to ask students to do themselves, but we're kind of expecting parents and carers to do it as well, just so they've got as much information behind them as possible before they make their informed choices. Because what we don't want is students to pick a particular subject and then, midway through, see that it's not really for them, or they're not interested in what they're studying. So I would urge you to go onto the website, and when I send these PowerPoints out after, you can also click these links. But it is live, and parents and carers are able to log on and go through it. So following the year 8 options evening, we then have the year 8 parents and carers evening. Now, sometimes we do this online, but we felt that there were too many. It was quite difficult for parents. There was all sorts of complications around it. So meetings will be held on site, which I think is better. It's always nicer to have meetings face to face. The only difference is that slots will be booked online, and this link will be sent a week before. So the meetings will be in school, but to book it, you will have to do it online with get your booking in through the teacher online. A couple of year groups have trialed different things, but I think this is the easiest way, because sometimes we allow students to make the booking, and it doesn't always work, and it just can become very complicated. If you were to have any difficulties with the booking, you just have to contact the form tutor in the first instance and say that you were not able to book for whatever reason. And in that way, someone from the team will get back to you if there's some sort of a technical issue. Each meeting will last for 5 minutes, which is very short. So I'd say come prepared with any questions that you may have. Be ready to, I think it's not a lot of time, but you want to be able to get a good, fair reflection of where your child is with their learning in that class. So just prepare yourself as quickly as best as you can for these meetings. Right, so I know I've kind of flown through these PowerPoints, and I'm sure you've all got quite a few questions in relation to the options process and some of the slides I've gone over. I've included our emails here. Most of you have got our emails, so if you do need to contact us beyond this forum, you can do so. But hopefully we'll be able to answer any of your questions that you may have now, to save you asking any questions on a day, and just maximize your time going to departments and going to see the subject areas that you wish to. So I think we answered one question in the chat. What proportion of lessons are currently taken by cover teachers? It felt like we had a little plus with me. Yes, so I agree. Last term there was quite a lot of cover, partly because some departments were actually mission teachers. So it wasn't due to teachers being off for sickness. It was because we were quite short on teachers in some department areas. So just to give you an example, science did require quite a few teachers. They have now been fully employed and fully filled. So we've seen the cover in science go right down in comparison to what it was at the beginning of the year. So I would say overall the cover list isn't as big as it was. We have employed another permanent cover teacher in the school. The majority of cover lessons that are covered will be from members of staff that are already employed by the school. So we're not really getting external supply teachers in as we were last term or at the start of the academic year, which helps massively because it allows it's an area of consistency that we have, and it just means that the children will be taught by a member of staff that they already know, which is always a good thing. Another question. So, Mr. Elabelli, are we going to make more slots available for the options evening?
No, we don't have availability for the library. The library is full capacity. We can't take more than 80 parents. So, but it does not mean that if you can't get in the library, you shouldn't come to the theater to see the subjects, the leaders. So if you don't have ticket for the library, that is fine. You could still come in to speak to the subject leaders. But library capacity is 80, and if that is full, it's full.
Next question. So should students come with parents in the options evenings?
Yes.
Yeah, good question. We always encouraged students to come along to these meetings just because they may have their own questions as well. And it's also a good opportunity for you to have a three-way conversation with you, your child, and the department lead. So yeah, we would definitely encourage it. But like I said earlier, it's also really important that you do go through the guidance book, just so students are fully informed and have got as much information as possible before the day, I would say. Who should I speak? Class charts login. If you need a class charts login, you can contact the member of staff at reception. They will have every child and parent login, and they can give it to you there and then. It's not difficult. It takes literally 2-3 minutes. So if you're missing a login, you could either send your child to reception and they will get it printed for you there, and then they can bring it back home and then you log in. Not an issue. It can be done pretty quickly as well. Is the option students? Yeah, we've answered that. Does all school use target pathways?
Can I just clarify? Please come along, even if you don't get a slot. The key thing is actually speaking to the subject leaders. The library talk is about the process, which is in the booklet. It's just going to explain the process. And we have already explained the process to your child. So really, the talk is very limited. We don't have the space. I would say if you don't have the ticket or the slot for library, please do come along to speak to subject leaders. It's important. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, next question. Does all school use target pathways? I feel like it underestimates a lot of students, and on number of students puts unreasonable expectations. I would say for pathways, it's just a way to measure their progress and to see where they are, but to measure their progress from key stage 3 all the way to key stage 4. I would say at key stage 3, it's not always accurate. And what you find is a lot of students make a lot of progress beyond their pathways. So that's why I was saying by the time they get to key stage 4, it kind of we've seen lots of students achieving secures and advances in their lessons. So we know they're on track. What I would say is sometimes the pathways can be a bit demoralizing for some students if they think they're doing the right thing, they're achieving secures. Why is their pathway so low? That kind of gets revised by the time they get to GCSE, and their predicted grades will improve over time, I would say.
If I just chip in there, I think it's pathway is like a target, isn't it? We all start a journey with some kind of target. Where am I traveling to? So it's just like a journey, and pathway, like as we said, could change as we begin to know you more, and as we begin to accumulate data from your assessment. So it's just a direction for a child to aim, and that is all. There's no need studying without a direction.
But sorry, it was my question. If I could just add to that, I understand that, but I've heard a lot of parents feeling like if their kids are feeling underestimated, they don't work as hard towards it. And on the other hand, like my kids have in the past been set very high targets, and then the only thing they can do is fail. So that was my question. Sorry, I'm right bad English there, but do all schools in England use this target pathway system, or is it specific to Stoke Newington? Like, is it a necessary system? Because when around that age, people change so much that I know that you keep updating them, but already somebody goes into year 7 and they're told they're going to have a 4. They don't feel like they need to work for it.
Majority of schools, I will not be able to tell you whether all schools, but majority of schools, we have some kind of pathway target. The majority of schools, you don't just teach students without knowing some kind of target direction in which they are going. And it should not be a negative thing, really. We are saying they are called the minimum target. And if your child is exceeding the minimum target, that's great. And most likely it will be changed as they progress. If the child is not reaching that minimum target, because targets are accumulated, we get target from their base data from primary school. If they are not reaching it, then we could look back into the primary school data and said, okay, this can also be rectified or reduced. That is how it goes. We are a school, so we need to have some kind of direction for them. It should not be detrimental to their learning at all in any way. Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Did you not consider the number of students and available slots? So I think we'd previously, I think there'd been discussions about having more than one day available for this, but it was unlikely to happen for this academic year. What we've found from last year's attendance that there's not that many students on top of the numbers available. So we did consider having an extra session, but I don't think it was possible this year, was it, Mr. Enebeli?
No, we can't fit in extra session. Like as I said, I've said this so many times. Really, all students have been taken through the option process, and therefore you should be discussing with them what they have discussed with either the senior leaders or the middle leaders. So most of your children would be meeting with senior leaders or middle leaders to talk about the process. So it's not something which, if they do not attend it, then it will be disadvantage to them. It's not. This is just a process where we feel the library is there and we can accommodate 240 spaces. One parent can attend. It doesn't have to take two parents to attend the session, but it's just to accommodate 240 people. And that's why it's 80 per session. And that's why we put in 3 sessions.
Okay. If you have a later slot for the library talk, should you go to the theatre first, or will there be, or will there be another time after? Yeah. So yeah, I think definitely go to the library first. We will have departments set up and ready to go. I'd say the timings are quite tight. So when Miss Bryant is presenting in the library for 20 minutes, it actually goes quite quickly. I think the important thing though is that if you do, for parents who do have a slot booked, it's really important that you get there on time, because we're going to be beginning quite prompt, and it makes it quite difficult when parents join midway through the discussion, because then they don't get all the information, and plus it doesn't really work out for numbers. So the idea is just try and get there on time, stick to the appointment, and if you don't have the session, you still come to the school, still head straight to the theatre, get the information that you need. What I would say is Miss Bryant's presentation kind of covers a lot of the guidance that is already on the website. She kind of just goes through it and speaks a little bit about the process and what to expect, but you can kind of get it all in the guidance books, to be honest. So it isn't something that, the information still is there, is what I would say. So if you can't make the library session before, what I do, go through the guidance books, read it through first, and then when you come in on the day, you'd still be equipped for what was going to be delivered in the library. What will we miss if we don't have tickets for the library next week? I've just mentioned that. We can't put on another evening, unfortunately, and the calendar is quite full for the academic year. Like I mentioned before, it was something that had been considered previously, but we can't do another evening, unfortunately. So, like I said, there's still enough time to get all the information that you need. If there's any further queries beyond the guidance books, head to the department lead themselves and arrange either a phone call or just send them an email, and they should be able to get back to you. When will parents receive the progress review reports? That'll be the end of this term. So you'll receive the next progress check too by the end of this term, and it will be a good way for you to measure the progress that your child has made from the last progress check. When will the subject timetable be available so we can see if there are time and conflicts with subjects and options?
Sorry, what is that about? When will the subject timetable? What subject timetable?
Are you talking about in relation to the actual options evening? David. David, are you there?
Okay. There is no subject timetable.
Sorry,
just
hello?
coming. Yeah, hello.
Hello. Yeah, I'm talking about the choosing their subjects. I'm not sure if we know if there's going to be a conflict, so we know which ones to choose yet. When will we know? How can we know that until the timetable comes out?
Oh, so I think when they are decided on the options, the subjects are in specific blocks. So you'll have the opportunity. There are some subjects that are compulsory that the students have to pick. But what happens is that you kind of choose a subject from each block, and then you'll know if they're conflicting or not. So, for instance, you can't do art and photography. That's not an option. So those two subjects would not conflict with each other. I think the same goes for technology and choosing either graphics or product design. But when you'll see it, it's when the link goes out, it's quite a clear system where you pick a subject from each block. So it should be quite straightforward.
I haven't got that in front of me, but I saw that. But there were much less blocks than I expected. There was one compulsory block, and then a second block with a lot of choices in. So are you saying that second block we can pick what we want out of that, and there won't be a timing conflict?
It does not clash. That is fine. I think there's enough block there. You have 4 options, and within the 4 options, some might be just in 2 options. So you just need to manipulate and see where to pick what subject. From experience, there's enough. There's always a chance for you to have a space to pick. Yeah, there are 4 blocks there, and you can float between the 4 blocks. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen that piece of information in 4 blocks. I will leave this now because it's obviously detailed and possibly I haven't seen the right piece of information. So you move on. I'll talk to someone directly.
No, what I would say is I think the majority of students do get their desired subjects that they pick. So we very rarely get an option that is oversubscribed. Either there'll be 1 GCSE class or 2, but for the most part, students are able to study what they want unless they're on a supported pathway, which differs slightly because they have to pick a bit of a different pathway. What was the next question?
Should a student attend the library? I think we've said that.
Yeah.
I haven't understood what you said about the library. The library is to take you through the options. So David was talking about the blocks. The library will explain the blocks also there. So it's just to take the parents through the blocks of options that is available and the process of filling your form online once it's opened. Do you set students for maths GCSE? There is no setting. Most subjects are mixed ability. There might be slight element of streaming, but it is not it's not how would I say it? It is not fully setted. So we will know which student will be doing higher tier and what student will be doing foundation. So it's not setted per se. We teach in mixed ability. Most schools do GCSE course over 2 years. What does SN?
It's not. It's not so much a broader curriculum. It's more about actually getting a bit of a head start. And what it allows them to do, starting in year 9, is have the option to. It spreads it out a bit, and it doesn't put as much pressure as cramming 2 years worth of GCSE work into it. Sorry, could you just mute your mic, please?
Oh, it's that salad one, isn't it? It's quite nice.
Sorry.
Can we just have
mic's on?
Could you mute your mic, please?
A lot of people do.
Who is it? Let me see.
I think they're all right now.
I think it's this.
Can't see it.
I think I've done it. Yeah.
Okay. So it's sorry for the interrupt. Yeah, it just allows students to have a little bit longer time to cover the whole curriculum. And what we found is that it just gives them a bit of a head start. So if they've struggled to cover a particular area, it gives them more time to go over it and improve. It's been successful in this school, and it's allowed students to just have more time to study more than anything. So we found it to be quite successful and just better for the student in the long run to not have to cram the 2 years worth of GCSE work into 2 years and to spread it out a bit. What time do you expect them to return from the Norfolk Lakes trips? We're going to answer that shortly after, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
So
no longer.
Yeah, I believe the slots for the library session have been completely booked.
May I please ask something?
Yes, yeah, go. There's hands up here. So if we go to hands up now, yeah.
So should I ask something?
Yeah, go. Is that
Okay,
Alicia?
so-
Is that Belly?
Yes, I'm
Yes.
Alicia. So what happened is I have never studied in this country, so
Yeah.
I'm very unfamiliar with this GCSE.
Yeah.
What I understood is that they have three core lessons, and then the rest of them is whatever they choose. But it seems to me like photography and drawing and this, it's like it's very easy. So I don't understand what's the colorful other options would do. So for the career in the future. So I am not. So it's just so difficult. I don't understand it. I don't get it. So if they want to become dentists, what do they choose? Photography and colorful things, or they?
I will explain now. So you're definitely going to do English, maths, and science. Out of those English, maths, and science, English you will get 2 GCSE. Science you will get 2 GCSE. Maths you will get 1. Then you can now choose any other 4 subjects. You can choose all you could choose history, geography, which are the solid subjects you're talking about. They're called the EBAC subjects. You could choose all of them. It's up to the child and whatever they're capable. It's always also advisable for the child to have some kind of creative subject. So it doesn't have to be only academic subjects. So they got to be some kind of creative subject. When a child is choosing, there got to be some kind of option that this is what I enjoy doing, not what my parent enjoyed doing. It's what the child enjoys doing. So whatever options the child chooses, there's always a way of studying what they're going to study, professional later on. So I don't see, there is no disadvantage to any child at all. We also talk them through.
Also, I'm so sorry. Also, I've been asking my son what would he like to choose, and he said he has no idea. So whatever he's gonna choose is gonna be the easiest things that he can find, and probably when he realizes what he wants to be in the future, he might have chosen the wrong subjects because he has no idea what he wants to do in the future. So it's not like about, because he really doesn't know. It's like he's completely blank. He doesn't have the vision of what he wants to do in the future. Whenever I ask him, so he's gonna be like super easy, and then it might be the wrong choices.
Can I answer this question for you? So I think with the one-to-one interview, it will allow the member of staff to try to unpick, because some students don't actually know what they want to do, and if they're unsure, then we kind of steer them in a direction about what they enjoy or what they think they're good at. For some students who have already got a clear direction or a bit of a career in mind, that does help. But we're not expecting students to come to the process knowing absolutely everything. So what the one-to-one interview does with a member of staff, it kind of unpicks what they enjoy doing, what they feel they're good at, what career progression may be available for doing some subjects. And when they had the online assemblies, the department leads briefly mentioned, what careers could be on offer if you got into design and media, or you chose GCSE photography or religious studies. So it's just about giving them as much information as possible. And if your child's unsure, that is totally fine. What I would say is, when he does come to have the one-to-one interview with a member of staff, that he needs to make that quite clear that he's a bit unsure, and we will support him with that, is what I would say.
Can we leave the trip for now, because not all parents are on the trip? We will talk about the trip just later on, please. Okay, I could see discussion about trip. We will talk about that later on. Not all parents are on the trip, so if we just keep on bringing the other questions, please. Yeah.
So we've got, can they choose more than 4? No. If they're picking the traditional pathway, it's usually 4 subjects.
Possibly.
And it's a bit different if they're on a supported pathway, which is slightly different. But for parents whose children are on a supported pathway, they would get a phone conversation from a member of staff explaining to them what the options are available. But the rest of students, they get to choose 4 subjects out of the 4 blocks. Why no denim jeans on the trip?
Is what? No, don't worry about that one. We'll answer that later.
How do you know? I don't have any information about it. Okay, do that.
There used to be,
classics option.
Okay.
I think the classics option stopped. They just didn't have a big enough offer. So with the last GCSE class that was on offer to the following year, there wasn't a big enough intake to continue with it. So that is the reason why it stopped.
The other one is on triple science. Triple science is an option. you need to decide now. Yes, it's not, you have to choose triple science now or not. Yeah, so it's an option. Can they do triple science and 4 options? Triple science is an option, so there is no way doing triple science and 4 options because you already have science as a must do. Science is a must do, and then triple science is an option.
It just adds an extra GCSE, and they cover more areas of chemistry, biology, and physics. So they would be doing quite a few more lessons over the fortnight if they pick triple science, and it is considered an extra option. Hope that answers your question.
Okay. Do we have anybody putting up hand again? Diego Brown.
Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
You're good.
Okay. Nice one. My daughter has been unable to access a number of online resources due to apparently there being an issue with the systems at the school surrounding like logins, and I was wondering if that has been sorted, and if not, can you send me, or is there a list of recommended applications or resources that I can give to her so she can continue with her studies outside of school?
Okay.
Yes, there is, to answer your question. So what I would say is that different subjects use different applications or visit different websites. If you had a specific subject in mind, I would say the best. Are you talking about this academic year or when they go into GCSE?
Yes, but in general, I suppose, because I mean, obviously they use, I think it's Sparks for maths, right? So that's been fine, but I think whenever there's been it maybe like geography or something along those lines where it required use of a different application, it's like she's never been able to log into it. Initially, I was concerned she was going to get like detentions on top of whatever for not being able to do the work that was made available, but it seems like, I don't know, every time she's gone to get like the login details, that's what she's told me anyway, from off, there have been issues on the side of the school, so they haven't been able to provide it.
Yeah, that does seem to be an issue school-wide. I think you're right, different departments do use different applications and different websites. If it's login details that are required, you just email her teacher directly for whatever that subject is. Whether it be in maths, then you would just email her teacher directly and say, we're unable to be log in to do the work. Can you either send me her details or reset it? And they should get back to you straight away.
Would all of the teachers, I guess their details like email and what have you will be on the school site?
Yeah, correct.
Right.
You could also send your child. Could you send your child to the form tutor, and the form tutor will be able to liaise with the teacher to see if they can get the password.
All right, then I'll speak with her later. All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Billy? Billy there?
Sorry. Actually, you answered my question, so I forgot I had my hand.
Thank you. Okay,
no
Melda.
Hello, hi there.
Hi,
I just wanted to ask, hi Kurt. I just wanted to ask, how do you know if your child is on a supported pathway? If you have a child who's
you would have been notified by now. And so if you haven't heard from the inclusion department or from myself, then they're on the normal pathway as everyone else.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can you do film studies and creative iMedia? As I think they share the same content. Yeah, they do share the same content, correct? But I think this year actually there might be a slight change with what's on offer. So I would actually confirm that on the options evening, just to double check, unless you can answer that, Mr. Anabelio.
What subject are we looking at?
It was film studies and creative iMedia.
Film studies and creative media, they are not in the same block, so you could do them. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they've changed it slightly this year.
Yeah,
so...
you could do it. They are not in the same block, so it's fine. Yeah.
feedback. I've emailed a teacher but did not receive a reply. If you email a teacher and you do not receive a reply, please let me know and I'll follow it up straight away. Sometimes that does happen. Teachers do not always get back to you, but if you just let me know what the query was, I will definitely chase up with the teacher and ensure that they get back to you.
Yeah, or on that email, could you also copy Mr. Lee?
Yeah, or copy me in.
Copy Mr. Lee in. Yeah.
And I'll ensure that they get back to you.
Okay, do we still have, I think we still have one hand. Melda hand is gone down. Melda, is that legacy hand? Charity.
Hi, you talked about guidance booklet. When are we getting the booklet?
So
are you going to give it to the children?
No.
Well done. Okay.
So what happens is the guidance booklet has already gone live on the Stoke Newington website.
Okay.
And if you go to the website, hit the curriculum tab, and what you'll see is that there is another tab that says Key Stage 4 options. If you hit that and scroll to the bottom, you will see 2 information booklets that are able to be downloaded: guidance for parents and subject information guidance. I urge you to go through that before the options evening. Just gives you quite a bit of information before you turn up on the day.
Pablo?
Hi there, thank you. I might. Sorry, children talking. I might be being. I have not read the email probably, but I'm still a little bit confused about the options evening. You mentioned that the slots are booked, but at the same time you said that we could come and still meet and meet the representatives from each subject. I'm a little bit confused about what is booked and what isn't, and where we go if we still want to come. I'm sorry.
No
I've
worries.
just reread the email and I still wasn't completely clear.
It's okay. I can answer that for you. So the first part, the fully booked sessions that were available is in the library, and that involves a talk by Miss Bryant, who's the curriculum lead, who just kind of goes through the options process and what it involves. It shows you the available blocks and just gives you is like an in-person review of it's kind of all the stuff that's included in the guidance book. If you can't get to that session, what we're saying is you can still come and still speak to the departments, because what happens after any parent who goes to the session in the library, they then go to the theatre and they go and speak to the different GCSE option subjects or to a representative from that area. So if you can't get to the library session, you still can come and speak to the department. That's what we're saying.
And at what time should we arrive at the theatre for that?
So I would say if you were unable to get a session,
theatre will be open from 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
From 5 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay. We will just be allowing parents to come in and to head straight to the theatre if they haven't got a session booked in the library.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thank you very much. That's clearer. Thanks a lot.
No worries. So what was the answer? Most other schools give 4 options and triple science. Why doesn't SNS? I'm not sure, Mr. Anibeli. What is the reason why?
Sorry, what is this?
So what most other schools offer 4 options and triple science.
Yeah, so okay, let's say double science is mandatory. Triple science would count as one chosen option. Yeah, that's correct.
It's the number of lessons that you receive when you do triple science. It takes up a whole block of another subject, so it's quite a few lessons extra. So we wouldn't be able to timetable it for one, and there wouldn't be the teaching available to have triple science and 4 other options. That's the main reason.
Can I also say here, 9 GCSE is what your child is going to study. Some schools will offer 11, 12 GCSE, but what is the essence of it? That is the question you need to ask yourself. With 9 GCSE, the child is more focused and streamlined and well-rounded, trained to actually achieve that GCSE. A child who is studying 12 might just be too much. Stoke Newington is a more, I would say, inclusive school, not as other schools that would be overly academical in terms of their curriculum base. And that is why we also do we offer a lot of creative subjects. So there's a difference in the schools. We don't aim for 11 or 12 GCSE because we feel you are beautiful, you're fine with just doing 9 GCSE. It takes the stress away from the child. So other schools, I don't know much, but I know some of them do 11 or 12. You don't need that. Realistically, to go into university, you need 5 GCSEs. But we are accommodating 9, and I think that is enough for any child who's 15 or 14 trying to do GCSE.
Do we have any other questions in relation to?
Go down, see, what is the difference between subject level 2 subject? Okay, the GCSE subjects are the more academic exam kind of subjects, while the level 2 are more coursework based. What are the answer most other students gives? Okay, we've done that. Okay, we've done that. Okay, double science again, mandatory, triple science. Okay, I think, okay, like as I said, the double science, we've already touched on that. I think in the absence of any other question, do we have hands up? Charity, we've answered. Power, we've answered. Is there any other hands up? Nope, I think that would be it. So in the absence of any other question that is different from triple science, Mr. Lee, could you go on to talk about the trip?
Yeah, so if you if your child is not on the trip, then you may leave. I'm just going to speak briefly about, so
can I say there's a parent, sorry for interrupting, there's a parent that said they didn't get the trip. Please, if you want to hear more about the trip, you could stay, but the trip information went out some time back in first term. Yeah, go on.
Okay, so what we're thinking is, because there's a lot going on with the whole options process, we are not going to speak too much about the Man Adventure trip today, but what we are going to do is we're going to organise another online meeting just before the May half-term trip, just to give you a little bit more information about what to expect. I did see there was a question about jeans, was there? I think what they were saying about jeans is that in terms of the activities, we're not expecting any of the young people to be wearing jeans when doing the activities. I think that's what they meant. I wouldn't stress too much about that. I think it's just so they can be mobile and do the activities without feeling too restricted. So they wouldn't be penalised for wearing jeans, but we're just asking them to come in kind of like P or tracksuit bottom type garments. Any other questions about the Man Adventure? If you just switch on your mic, we might be able to answer it now.
Yeah, Man Adventure questions if you have.
Hiya, I've just got one question. Can you confirm what time students need to arrive at school on the Friday, and particularly what time they'll return on the Sunday, please?
So students are going to come. Students are going to come to school at normal time on the day. We're not departing from school straight away because they're not expecting us in Norfolk until about 2 p.m. So we will just ensure that everyone arrives to school normal, has everything that they need, just do a few checks, and we will depart. I'd say maybe, are we planning to depart about 10, 11?
10:30, yeah.
10:30.
What time will you arrive back to the school roughly?
Roughly is between 5:30.
Yeah.
Sometimes it depends on traffic.
Yeah, it won't be earlier than like 2-3 o'clock.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
Thank you.
No worries. Any other questions about Man Adventure? No. All right. So what?
Okay.
We presented all this information
an email, the thing on the slides?
Yes, these. So if you know any parents who are unable to attend today, all the slides will go out to parents and carers after this, and it is a recorded meeting, so it'll be fully recorded. So anyone who missed it or was unable to attend can catch up. It'll be sent to you directly in this week.
Okay, thanks.
No worries.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hi, Mr. Lee. Yeah, I wanted to find out what's the cost involved with the weekend trip.
The weekend trip, it's a residential, it's a 3-day residential in Norfolk. It's quite heavily activity based and team building activities. And it involves students really working together to do quite practical activities, ranging from archery to building to canoeing, there's paddleboarding, there's all sorts of activities. But unfortunately, I think we're completely booked for the trip now.
Just one space?
Oh, we've got one space available.
Just one space?
Okay. How much is it? What's the cost?
The cost is £250.
250. Okay.
Yeah. And if your child is in school entitled to free school meals, I believe it is half the cost, so it'll be £125. We do have one space available, so
okay.
If it's something you're interested, just contact me directly and we can have a conversation.
You can book directly now.
If you go onto your parent pay, the trip is listed there. It's under the May half-term residential for year 8s, and you can book your space there.
It's 90. That's the figure. The 90 students we're taking. So currently we have 89. We could still take just one more, and that is it. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions before we round up? That hand up.
Yeah, no, I think that's legacy.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time this evening. We look forward to seeing you on the options evening. If you do have any other questions before the day, please don't hesitate to get in contact, and we will try our best to get back to you and answer your questions. Thank you very much. Have a lovely evening.